What's good?
There we go. There we go. That's going
We're
live.
here.
Let me go to TikTok.
We are in there.
Okay. Let me pull this up. I hope I don't need to do that for TikTok. It's gonna make me a little sad. Go to this video.
I'm really feeling that background music though.
You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit of a vibe. Nothing crazy.
It's a nice and chill vibe.
Boom. Now we're gonna go live on TikTok. Mission accomplished. Truly.
Truly. It took some work, it took some thinking, but we did that. We got it together.
A little bit of tinkering.
We figured out a way to make it work.
Alright. I'm not mad.
I'm not mad at it either. We're gonna get there.
I'm not mad at it either. Turn me down. Somehow I hear myself. Okay.
Let me welcome everybody into the proceedings while you work on whatever it is that you doing currently. What's going on, Holly? Welcome, Holly and Lacey and everybody else to this wonderful evening gaming discussion. We're excited to be here with you. We're gonna talk about all things, everything to do with gaming. We got some likes in the chat. Appreciate it. Thank you, Teddy.
I appreciate all of that.
Yeah, no, that's what's gonna keep us going because somebody got to do this. Somebody got to get it done. They do. Somebody got to do this for us.
I'm just doing a quick crop and I should be ready.
I need more clothes in this game. My two favorite gaming content creators on live. I'm tuning in. Well, thanks, man. We appreciate you. I know that means a lot. We really got to do more for the people because I think they'll come through for us as well. They don't. They want us to be doing this 24/7. They do. They want morning, evening, and nighttime content from both of us. We're gonna have to give them what they want.
I'm gonna have to clone myself.
Yeah, we're good. Well, you know, when them donations come in, they gonna help us build this from the bottom up. I believe it. I believe it.
Let's go. I watch.
Oh,
it's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, you get in where you fit in.
Chatting it up a little bit. You're playing some Saints Row.
I am playing Saints Row. I did not like this game. I'm sorry. I feel so bad. I do. I don't want to give nobody ammunition. I just feel like they changed too much. They did. They I don't know. I think one creator was talking about Veilguard, said it feels like HR was in the room. Feels like HR was in the room with this game. It does. It feels like HR came through.
Oh.
He said, "This is what we're gonna do." Yeah.
I didn't even touch it.
Yeah.
Gat Out of Hell. I played Gat Out of Hell.
Gat Out of Hell was great.
Yeah. I think what I said, I wasn't going to play another one because they did the superhero thing.
Yeah.
On this shit.
It was.
I loved it. I loved the speed. You know what I'm saying? I loved all that. And I said, damn, I can't play another Saints Row now.
Yeah. No, Get Out of Hell was great, and so was Saints Row 4. The whole simulation. It was the whole vibe. It really was. That was great. But then after that, like, where you destroyed the Earth at the end of the game? Where else we going? You know,
you gotta.
There's nowhere else we could go.
And this reboot, I feel like it wasn't silly enough.
Yeah. They would, for sure.
Instead, they had a lot of political messaging, like we're going to talk about on this.
We are going to talk about political messaging in gaming today. I'm really excited about it.
If you are here, thank you for coming through. This ain't nothing, you know what I'm saying? This ain't nothing crazy. It's just two fellas, two gamers that want to talk about video games, who have had enough of the non-genuine, non-critical, non-logical discussions that have been had in video games on a very large platform.
For sure.
Like, there's room for some good faith conversations here, and that room is on a Sunday on TikTok and YouTube, etc.
I agree 100%. It's time to have adult conversations. It's time to discuss these things in gaming in a way that isn't just people yelling and being bigots. Like, there are some serious conversations we can have. And although I want to point this out, although it might sound like, you know, some of the conversations are mirrored. I'm not saying that everything, I mean, most of everything that side of the gaming culture war is talking about is rooted in bigotry, but there are some conversations that you can have that are not rooted in bigotry. They're just rooted in discussions that you would have with your friends. And I think that a lot of the problem is we kind of live in this world now where everyone is so polarized, and like if someone espouses or says an opinion that you don't necessarily, look at me throwing in $300 words, some student loan payments comes about to say espousing. Get out of here, bro. Can you just speak normally, please? Mindful gamer, Lord have mercy. But anytime every time somebody, you know, has an opinion that goes, you know, it's just we all grow up differently and we come to look at things differently. It's about sharing that in a space with someone that you trust, and then having like gentle adjustments to your perspective because, hey, this is my friend, you know. So I'm really looking forward to having some really good deep conversations in a way that other people don't normally have them.
Yeah, and also at the end of the day, although very special, very dear to our hearts, etc., very big point in our lives, it is about video games, and I kind of feel like video games should be fun, and conversation around video games should be fun. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be going to work and living life and going to vote and coming home to play a video game and talk about a video game and it's be as stressful, as frustrating, as you know what I'm saying, like
for sure,
you know, polarizing as it has been, right? If you want to be upset because the mindful gamer wants to do a zone and he doesn't want to run up and run a fade, you know what I'm saying, he don't want to punch, that's different, right? Right. That makes sense.
If you want to, and by the same token, if you realize that your opponent can't counter level 1 zoning and you don't feel like going to the next level with them, because why would you give them an opportunity to beat them on the level they haven't earned the right to fight against you yet? That's fine, you know, that's fine.
and part of it just kind of feels like, you know, if they don't want to, what level are we on if they just zoning you? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he can't even fight for real. You know what I mean? Like, come to the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's run this fade.
And I hear you. And it's just like if you were in a fight with someone and you had a bow and arrow and they had a baseball bat, would you run up to them with the bow and arrow and start trying to hit them? Is my question. You know, or would you know, okay, so you know how to dodge these arrows, I'm going to do something different. But again, it's all in how, you know, we all have different ways of approaching it. And I think all of those ways are valid. That doesn't mean, you know, it doesn't take away from anyone's experience, I don't think. Which are the kind of discussions we could have if people weren't so stuck on
all that
ridiculousness,
all that. So that's what we're gonna do. TikTok is saying they can't hear me. Let me see if I can fix TikTok real quick.
Yeah, you're all good, man. We got plenty of time. We got everybody chilling in the chat on TikTok, relaxing. We got Teddy, our number 1 fan. We're gonna have to put that in the next video. Number 1 fan. For real. You got the title today. You did.
But yeah, there's a lot. The most of the conversation will be surrounded around Dragon Age Veilguard and political messaging today.
Yeah.
I just dropped my review for Dragon Age Veilguard.
What'd you give it?
I don't do scores. I don't like doing out of 10s. So
that makes sense.
Anything out of 10. What I instead like to do is find a way to recommend it or not recommend it.
Right.
And the stake, when it comes to Veilguard, I said, if you like a straightforward RPG that's linear and really good combat, then this game might be for you.
Yeah.
If you want something extremely deep, if you want something where you're going to have some Shakespearean level messaging and writing, this is not for you. The writing is not it, and we'll talk into it. The dialogue rather is not it. So, if you
felt like the dialogue wasn't it.
If you want something deep, crazy, good dialogue, a really complex RPG open world, then it's not for you. But I'm having fun.
Now, how do you think like what parts of the dialogue do you not like? I mean, with BioWare games, normally the dialogue is like usually the best part. Like that's what I play for. I remember my first experience into BioWare was actually Mass Effect, and like I just found myself, I listened to the codec. I wanted to hear, even when I replay Mass Effect, I still listen to some of the dialogue choices simply because the voice acting is so good. So is it a problem of like voice acting, or is it a problem of like the content of the dialogue? Or maybe it's both.
It's a little bit of both, actually. I, yeah, I think the men, most of the characters, half of the characters, a lot of the men do really good, honestly, for the voice acting. I think there's a couple of female characters that do okay, but some of them are they just don't hit for me. And I don't know why. I don't know what that is, but the voice acting specifically, not that great for me.
We're not at Dustborn levels of bad though, right?
Dialogue.
Really?
It's just
okay.
Dialogue, no. Honestly, I think Dustborn dialogue, honestly, it might have been a little bit better.
Really? That, man, you know how I felt about Dustborn. Like, if you're telling me that, you know.
Let me see real quick. Hold on, I sound double. Okay, sorry.
Dustborn levels of dialogue. That's wild. I was thinking about my experience with Dustborn. I felt like Dustborn dialogue was made by artificial intelligence. Like there was no way a human was in the writing room for that. And you're telling me that Dragon Age the Veilguard, a $250 million game, has dialogue that is on par with that level of cringiness.
Yeah, I thought they had a couple of good sections at least. At least when when the main character, I think she was the main character, black chick, was talking to her grandma. I was like, okay, this is at least well written. No?
Wow.
Yeah, it's not the case with Veilguard though. There's a lot of like weird quippiness that just doesn't really work. There's some out of placeness. I also think it's a little bit of like the sound. I don't know what to call it, the engineering or whatever. But there's a lot of times where like the dialogue, like it just doesn't flow together. Like literally flow together. I know there's a lot of like choose your own shit, but it just doesn't work sometimes.
I see. I mean, I might grab it for 2 hours on Steam. I'm part of the budget gaming community though, so like I'm not buying a brand new game. That seems like a game that'll be great for me to play in a couple, like 6-7 months from now, when all the hype and everything has died down and I can look at it on its own merits, you know. Right now I just feel like, one, I don't need another game. I have way too many video games. I haven't beat this game. I hadn't beat Saints Row. Like there's way too many video games that I have that like, and I think we as gamers sometimes get caught in this trap, this like fear of missing out. And it's just, you know, you get one game, you play it for a while, you don't finish it, and then you buy another game. And like, it's a hard loop to get out of because you want to be a part. There's something to be said, especially because we live in such a world where we're like all isolated and stuff. There's something to be said to play a game and feel like you're part of the greater gaming community, like we're all playing this game together, you know. And like to make that decision to just wait a minute can be kind of tough. But yeah, I think I'll wait, absolutely wait for a sale or do EA Play. I think I heard it's on EA Play as well.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if it might be eventually though. That's for sure. Definitely wait.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm now, along with the topic of the conversation here, I am playing 3 games currently. Exactly what you're saying. I am not finishing any of them, but I'm playing Metaphor ReFantazio,
oh man,
and this game. And the funny thing is, they all have very blatant, straightforward messaging in their games.
Yeah.
Disco Elysium is pretty communist, pretty pro-communist.
Yeah.
The Metaphor ReFantazio has all types of stuff going on, but kind of anti-gun or pro-gun law, racism. They talk about equality, all types of shit. It's great. Then Dragon Age Veilguard, at least to most people, the political messaging is the one scene where the trans person or the non-binary person um, exclaims themselves as such, and people they aren't feeling it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you seen the scene in question?
I have seen part of the scene. I actually made a video on it. I saw the scene where they're all sitting around a fire, and I think it might have been Rook who says that she still has the ruby behind her back, and then she says, "Oh, my bad. They still have the ruby behind their back." And then they talk about how I saw a clip ahead where the character who was misgendered says, what if they're really sorry about it? And then it seems like the main character again says some people take it and they make it their whole, their apology. They make it all about them. They feel so bad about it when they could just, let it go. And it's pretty heavy handed, to be honest with you. Like, I don't mind political messaging in video games. I don't mind messaging in video games. I'm not offended by there being non-binary or transgender characters or gay characters or, again, characters with vitiligo. That doesn't bother me, like, that they're in the game. But I am a little bit conflicted, and I think it's a larger discussion around, should video games have messaging in them in general?
Yeah, that's what it ends up boiling down to, right? Should there be any messaging at all in video games? A lot of people, since they're so anti exactly this is exactly what they're
I don't think they've ever had a good example of what they're talking about until now. I think now they have a really, you could really, I can't be intellectually honest and say there's no messaging in video games and then see this scene. Like, there's no way. Like, it's the perfect example of what they're talking about.
Yeah, like, literally. So how do we feel about it, right? Yeah, it's a little interesting because I seen that scene and it means nothing to me, right?
Yeah.
Like, I seen it and I was just like, oh, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just kept going. But here's some background knowledge here. I'm not that into. I be skipping cutscenes and shit. I be like, I do. Right? I'll hit that back button with the quickness. I'm out of there a lot of times. Very few times does a game reel me in so much so that I want to read and listen and watch everything that they have to say.
Oh my gosh.
It's happened like 4 times in my life out of thousands of games I've played.
Yeah. Okay, well, and that's fine and fair. I don't understand how, I just don't understand how to play a video game like that. Like, if I'm gonna sit down and play a game, it to me, it's like, I can't even think of a good example. It's like watching a movie and maybe fast forwarding to just watching the action scenes is probably the best metaphor I can think of. It's a little different. It's a little different because in video games you're actually controlling it. But I feel like, I just wanted to see the cool explosions, and so I think that's part of it. But I am someone that scene would have, if I had the game, I would have directly interacted with it. And just from my perspective, and I'm really curious as to what you think. I'm just conflicted. I feel like we live in a world where people expect you to have a hardline stance on something. I don't have a hardline stance on it. Part of me feels like, television shows have been doing messaging and PSAs, and that's what it felt like. Oh, that's the language I needed. It felt like a PSA. It felt like a PSA in the middle of the video game. And for the people who are non-binary or who are transgender, I'm sure that scene, for some of them, because I know that some people had an issue with it, but I'm sure for some of them, that scene is just an accurate representation of what life is like. And then I think for people who don't have friends who are transgender or who are not, who don't want wokeness in their game, it felt like it was a giant middle finger. Like, it felt like they literally stopped the game you were playing, to pause it, to say to you, this is what you do in that situation. And so I don't know. I take issue with the language specifically of using the word non-binary. I do feel like they could have used an in-universe word. Again, not made the same point, but made it in a way that didn't seem like they were stopping the entire game to say something. And, there's definitely a higher level discussion we could have about that. Eurocentrism and what language we decide to use to describe the phenomenon that people experience. I know that there are lots of diverse cultures that have language for non-binary that can be used. Why did we decide to use that one? I think that's a much, deeper conversation that we can have. But overall, I mean, I just think it's interesting, the messaging that we chose to have. Like there are a lot of other messages in games that I wish we would have had. If CJ from San Andreas would have been shown that not all black people are drug dealers and thugs, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there are lots of messaging in games, and I don't know, I'm conflicted. I don't have a specific answer. I just know it makes me think, which is maybe the goal that they were looking for.
Right, because I'm along similar lines. On one end, I don't care, because like I said, I'm there to kind of just play the game. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really tripping. It's either I love it or I don't really care too much about the story. Like, it's never really too weird in the middle, right? Metaphor Refantasio, I love it. I'm reading shit. I'm reading the little books. I'm reading the little notes. I'm loving this world. Loving everything that it has to say. It's fantastic, right? So I'm all in. For this game, I'm not, so I really don't care. But on top of that, would I care about this message if it resonated with me? I'm not tripping about the non-binary stuff. I'm not tripping about the trans life. I'm not, like, that doesn't really directly affect my life, right? I'm not really tripping about it. So, but if I flip it and I put it to something that maybe I do care about, even as something as simple as dumb it all the way down to, like, video games are important in life, right? Let's say that same type of situation happened, but the message that they were saying was video games are important to human life and we should treat it as such, right? Let's say that character in that world was playing a game. They was like, yo, turn off that game. You shouldn't be playing games. And then somebody else was like, hey, games are important. We like video games. Like, don't be tripping.
Right.
I don't know if half the people, 90% of the people, would have be upset with that message, right?
That's fair.
Like, oh, that's on the nose, but like, I get it. I fuck with it. Whatever. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
It would be like in the middle.
Right.
I think the rest of the people would be even less worried about it if it wasn't so on the nose and it was written well, like you said. Maybe they use some verbiage. Maybe they do a little bit of a analogy here, a metaphor here. You know,
that would require media literacy, but that's a whole other conversation.
Whole nother conversation, right? So maybe they worded it better, right? There's well-written message that resonates with you. There's well-written message that doesn't resonate with you. There's the written message that you don't resonate with, and a bad written message that you do resonate with, right? There's like 4 different sections of it all.
For sure.
This one, for a lot of people, fell under bad written message that they don't resonate with.
Right. Because the thing you have to... Oh, go ahead.
Just my last thing is that for a good amount of people, it is not only a message that they don't resonate with, it's a message that they disagree with.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and the only way to really resonate with that message is if you are someone who is non-binary, who has been in that situation where someone has misgendered you, or you're in the situation where you have done it to someone else. And like, again, I don't really talk about it, but I use he, they pronouns. I do. I don't care if someone misgenders me. I really don't, or uses the wrong pronoun when they speak of me. Like, I use both of them, but it doesn't really matter to me, and I don't make a big deal about it. I'm not saying that other people are making a big deal, because I hear where the conversation is going. It's just, to me, my identity is for me. Like, I'm not expecting anybody to validate that for me. And if they don't, I'm not going to be mad about it. Now, what it does do is whenever I do feel safe enough to share that in a friend group or in a group of people that I'm with and they respect that, then that's awesome. But like, there is no universe where I expect any, like, what is the point to trying to convince someone who doesn't want to be convinced, or trying to change their mind? And so I think what happened is people who have been in that situation where I've misgendered a trans woman before, completely by mistake. I'm from the South, and like yes ma'am and no ma'am is just what we do. And there are a lot of deeper nuances to that conversation, but it just is what it is. But my heart was not, I don't care about your identity. I don't, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't to just completely disrespect what you brought to me. It was simply a mistake. And I have been in the situation before, especially living in Seattle, where you make that mistake and there are some people who will use it as an opportunity to preach to you for the next 15 minutes about how much you don't care and how you need to do better and be better. And it's like it gives them an opportunity to have some sort of moral high ground for a few moments, you know, because there are other people where I've made that mistake and it's just, oh, by the way, it's they. And that's it. We move on, keep on going. Nothing else happens. We pick up the joke right where we left off. It's not a big deal, you know, and like it's someone that I want to be in community with and relationship with because it helps me kind of overall, you know. So I think that there are definitely some people who saw themselves in that specific dialogue option where they were saying people make it all about themselves and trying to be sorry. Like I can understand someone again who doesn't understand these concepts, doesn't have a college degree, hasn't had access to the language to understand that there's a difference between sex and gender, who would maybe make this mistake and then apologize profusely, and now you're telling me that the way I'm apologizing is wrong too. Like how do I win? You know, I can definitely understand somebody being in that situation in the same way that I can understand someone apologizing profusely just to be a dick, you know. But it's nuance, and I think that's the biggest issue here, is that nuance is dead. It is dead on the internet. It does not exist. Like it's impossible to say, you know, that there are some situations where I hear where you're coming from, but here's that same exact situation with a little bit of a different context, and maybe you can see where I'm coming from. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense, right? Yeah, so you're talking about specifically about the actual scene in which you know, it's kind of actually a little bit of a spoiler if you haven't played Dragon Age, but
it's too late. You know, I think that's another reason why people buy video games really fast now too, like because then it becomes a choice between, are you going to, you know, get the game spoiled from you, or are you going to take a break from social media until you can play it?
Right. And what you were describing is the way the scene have played out, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't even get to the point where they are paying attention to the scene at that point because you know what I'm saying, it's the fact that scene even exists within the game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What made me not only just neutral about that scene existing, but what made me a little bit more forward for existing, or happy with that existing, it is not just this scene, right? There's at least it's not just the scene in which people have an issue with when it comes to quote unquote political messaging in gaming. It is this one super small aspect of the game where you can pick up a mirror and basically talk about how you identify yourself. Choice, all options. The fact that that exists was neutral for me. But after seeing some people on the internet excited, who can resonate with that message, was kind of happy about it, then I was like, all right, not only am I neutral that it exists, but if they're happy, I'm happy. You like it, I love it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For me personally, like I said, I'm, you know what I'm saying, I skipped over it. You know what I mean? It wasn't very important to me. The world didn't reel me in from the first 20 seconds, so I wasn't really bothered to begin with. But they were happy for it. Whatever. So this moves into a conversation of, can gamers resonate with a message that's not for them?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's when this becomes a really big issue, right? Because gamers don't have a problem with a blatant message that says gamers are cool, or like, you know what I'm saying, boys will be boys, or like, you know what I'm saying, something that they can like rock with, that's like okay. They would have no problem with friendship, right? Hey, I trust my friends and I'll do whatever I can to make sure that I complete this for my friends because they make me strong. That's corny, cringy, bad writing, but it's in damn near every single video game you ever played. You know what I'm saying? Like, right? Like, I'm doing this for my family because I really care. You know, there's tons and tons and tons of decades worth of examples of bad writing revolving all sorts of things and people that gamers have overlooked.
I think with this one in particular though, yeah, I feel like a lot of people can't resonate to it, and it's simply because again, we have to kind of like draw a distinction between the types of gamers we're talking about. When I think about the type of gamer that plays a dark fantasy RPG, especially one from BioWare, I mean, no disrespect to you, but I think of someone like people are still thirsting over Garrus. Like these people we take these things very seriously. Like whenever I play Mass Effect, because I don't have Dragon Age right now, but even in playing Mass Effect, like it's a religious experience for me. It really is. I turn off all the lights in my house. I put my phone on do not disturb. Before I start playing the game, I listen to the menu music for a minute to get myself into it. I will speak the dialogue. And there was a thing on I'm dating myself, but on the Xbox 360 we had the Xbox Connect, and there was actually an update that allowed you to speak the dialogue choices in Mass Effect 2. You could speak them. Like I really get immersed, and like when I say immersed, I mean I'm in there. Like my consciousness is transferred. I'm a different person for the next 8 hours. So like I love the idea of having a mirror in the game that helps you get more immersed in the game. And I think what it is like they spoke to a demographic of individuals that often are played for a joke in a game. And I think because we're so polarized in the world that we live in, people couldn't even like take a moment and be like, now I think that the people who have friends who are non-binary who saw that scene, it might have been helpful for them. It really may have. They may have been able to see where their friend has been coming from and maybe have a little bit more empathy. But I think for the most part, it just upset that very loud demographic of gamer who is just mad that they are not the center of attention in gaming anymore. Like they're upset that they're even trying, like I've never seen such hatred. Like you look online, people are upset if you like the game. People are talking about how they hope it fails, how it doesn't make enough money. Like what kind of gamer are you that you want a game to fail? Like it's hard enough being a gamer already, dealing with talk about oppression, but like in the world scale of oppression there are much worse things. But we were just talking about our specific slice of media and enjoyment, gamers get the worst rep for no reason other than people don't understand what's going on, So how can you call yourself a gamer and want a game to fail? Like criticize it on the merits of criticism, but why are we trying to make it fail? So yeah, I think to your point, a lot of people could not resonate with the message because some people don't like being told when they're wrong, and some people just didn't want it in the game entirely.
Now, there are some other moments in other games that are actually it's not as poorly written as this one, but it is fairly on
when we say
par.
poorly written, before we go, when we say poorly written, what is your definition of poorly written? And then I'd like to give mine. I'm really interested in when you say poorly written, what do you mean?
When I think of good dialogue, I think of dialogue that is realistic within whatever world they're portraying, right?
Okay.
If it's meant to be, 2024 Los Angeles, the dialogue should sound like I'm in 2024 Los Angeles. If the dialogue is whatever world and realm that Dragon Age Veilguard is, then I just feel like it should flow. It should sound like those characters would say those things, and it doesn't feel out of place. I shouldn't know when a joke is being said. I shouldn't know when someone is trying to make someone laugh. I feel like it should just kind of happen, because oftentimes in real life, that is kind of how it happens, right? You just kind of riff off of each other, and it should flow. That's how I feel like it should just flow.
Okay.
One final thing also, I don't think that the quippiness or the usage of fairly modern words or language is an issue for me. I watch Vox Machina, and they say shit that really should not really like, at all. But it works because it's funny and it just lands. It lands. Yeah. That's at least good dialogue is. It lands.
I see. I think that it is good dialogue. If you that scene, I think that scene was great dialogue. If it would just come out and say that it was a PSA, if they would just say it was a public service announcement, it was a great dialogue. For it sounded, that's what it sounded like to me. It sounded like a public service announcement. By the way, and I don't know who the message would like. I can understand it being affirming for individuals who've been in that situation, but like, whose mind are you trying to? I don't know. I need to play the game so I can see. Is it one of those things that just, like when you're playing video games, you may not know because you skip cutscenes, but like whenever you're playing games and you get to that little bit of downtime where you kind of chill, or like, on the Normandy when you're chilling with your crew and you're just walking around looking at everyone talking and stuff, is it one of those things that came up naturally, or did it feel, or was it one of those? And that's going to always be opinion. My only gripe was like, I just feel like there could have been an in-universe way to describe that. Like, I feel like it would take me out of the world, if it I just feel like they could have been a little bit more creative. But yeah, no, I was just curious about what you meant when you said, poor dialogue.
And I don't think that they were trying to be creative. I don't think that they did a poor job of being creative. I think they literally wasn't trying to be. I think they specifically just wanted to.
They wanted that scene, yeah.
But here's a little bit more context in it. Like, some of the creators of Dragon Age is LGBTQ plus. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they created this and they wanted to put this into the world, to Dragon Age's universe, purposefully, intentionally.
Yeah.
Like most progress happens, right?
For sure. You have to be in the room, yeah.
Right? So they added gay characters, gay romances, etc., into the game Dragon Age universe to begin with, right?
Yeah.
I think this was a progression in which they decided, let's push the envelope anymore. They pushed the envelope with Dragon Age 2, right? They pushed the envelope to begin with. I think they just wanted to go even further and to the next step, which is, all right, look at what we did. We made all these romances and stuff fine. We made it okay. We made it, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And in the time, just so that people don't do too much revisionist history, it was also criticized. It was in the news, right? Like when Dragon Age was able to have characters or gay romances.
Oh yeah, I remember Fox News lost their minds over Mass Effect. Right? I uploaded the video about it. Yeah, it was crazy.
Big deal back then. So I think this is another situation. They say, we're gonna do it again. And I think it could have went over a little bit better, maybe even a lot better, if the general conversation about hating that type of stuff wasn't being had. It's a little bit of poor timing, right? Like, I think in another world, people would have been like, "Oh man, not this stuff," But like, a lot of them wouldn't. A lot of people would be like, "All right, whatever." But since people are picking side within this war, they have to choose to either hate it or love it. And that's
they definitely gave those content creators a lot to eat on, because there have been video after video after video. I know we were going to move to another topic, but one thing that came up for me when you said that is, how do you feel about it when people say, well, Baldur's Gate 3 did it and they did a much better job and do it like that? It was wokeness done right.
They're full of it.
Yeah, for sure.
They're 100% full of it. All they're saying when they say that is Baldur's Gate 3 was successful. It was critically acclaimed. The users love it. It's a strong fan base, and they can't touch it. They can't say anything about it.
Yeah.
Because they tried. There's tons of videos up still on YouTube about how it's woke. They're sexuality gone wild and all this type of bullshit. They was going crazy about Baldur's Gate 3, but then it released. And it's one of the best games ever released. So they can't fight it, right? Because at the end of the day, we have to remember that there are people that are grifting. They are doing this for their own monetary value, like improvement. They are doing this not because they are passionate for making video games better. There is a large amount of people who are just doing this because they can get some money off of it.
Yep.
Right?
And it's lucrative. It is so lucrative. Like, it's like the algorithm has been built around simply putting those type of videos up. I've seen it. I've made videos about, this is just a game I love and enjoy. And I mean, again, the people that watch, I really appreciate it. It's not that, but more people would if their algorithms weren't flooded with that. I made that video about the non-binary scene in Dragon Age and like instantly blew up. I mean, there's still people commenting on it. And the thing that's unfortunate, it's mostly people people that have a negative opinion. You know, like it's mostly the worst forms of internet discourse. People that are engaging with it.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I do say everyone who's here on whatever platform you're viewing us on, we appreciate it. Follow
Yeah.
us, AP
Yep.
Close Fist, the Mindful Gamer. Follow us on all the platforms. We want to have these conversations. Engage. If you're in the channels, like the video, like it right now. Let's try and get up to 1,500 likes. We got to say these things because we really want to have these good conversations. I want to be able to have these conversations, but I can't if no one's trying to have them with us. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So that's very important. Also, I want to quickly throw up a video.
Okay.
See if it's gonna work. This is a big step for us. So rock.
I know. This is the first video. This is the first one. It's
All
first one. First reaction. We're gonna look back on this in a months. I'm not gonna say years, in weeks, because that's what's gonna happen. We're gonna look back on this in a few weeks whenever we're being sponsored by everybody, and like this was the moment when we played this video.
Okay, here it is. I'm pulling it up. Let's see if we got it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Boom.
In
Okay.
there.
Would rather stuff not be there or be done better just because it comes off disingenuous. How is it disingenuous when, what if you found out that the creator is exactly what they're talking about? What if one of the writers is literally non-binary?
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing people talk about it's coming off as disingenuous. It's just the fact, again, and everybody's on a journey, so I want to be respectful because I remember what it was like to think that way. But like, yeah, it's not that it's disingenuous. It's just you don't want it there at all. And like, tell me, and when people say it's disingenuous, then I'm curious. Give me an example of one that isn't. Give me an example of a message like this in a game where you felt like it was genuine and you took it to heart and it changed how you felt about something. And the crickets at that point.
Right. And also, I know there's a big push for diversity, etc. But let's not get crazy. The easy way out is still a white straight man. Let's not get crazy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just the easiest way to make some money. But here we go. I'm going to throw up this video. This is from Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto 5. Let me know if you can hear it.
No, we don't got audio, boss. That's all right. We got subtitles, but I'll narrate it. I guess I've been wondering, are you gay?
Okay, hold on. Let's narrate it. Hold on. We're going to do it together. We're going to do it.
Okay, who are you going to be?
I'm going to be Trevor.
All right, I'll be Franklin.
Damn, I kind of want to be Franklin, but I'm step on my
Okay, you can be Franklin. I'll be Trevor.
No, I'm comforted. I'm Franklin in real life. I don't want to be Franklin.
Where you? Too fast.
We're going to take shit. We're going to have to.
Look, let's just get to the. You want to slow it down, son?
You got this. We slowed it down. It's all good.
Okay. Wait, why don't they have names of who's talking? I guess I've been wondering, are you gay? Are you gay?
Oh, yeah, whatever. Labels, bro. Bang, bang. You want me to be gay?
Look, man, I want you to be happy and a little bit less frightening.
Oh, that's good, because that's what I am. Whatever makes me happy.
I did not see this scene in the game.
This is in Grand Theft Auto 5, okay?
I'm never beating it. I gotta beat it.
That is pretty blatant. Be who you are. Be happy. Messaging, blah, 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 blah. That's
Yeah.
Is that not similar? Is that not similar? What do
I
you
think it's very similar. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I think it's really similar. Like, that's clearly like, yeah. I mean, I didn't know that was in the game.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was in the game.
Right? So that's and that's Grand Theft Auto 5, you know? That's Grand Theft Auto 5. That's the beloved game. Hold on, let me go back. I don't think they heard it. But that's the one, right? That's the one that they feel is edgy. That's the one that they feel is, you know, for them, which is also really funny because Grand Theft Auto is pretty
Grant, it's like the scene in The Boys, like whenever they had that scene where they were at the expo and like
Yeah,
Starlight, not Starlight, what was her name? Firecracker? What is her
firecracker.
name?
Yeah,
Is it Firecracker?
yeah, I think so.
I think it's something else.
Firecracker.
I think Firecracker is a little bit on the nose. Does anybody know the name of that character? She played Kara in Detroit Become Human.
Oh shit. No, her name's Firecracker.
Okay, well she played Kara in Detroit Become. She's actually LGBTQ, which is really interesting. But when she was explaining, like, these people, they think they're fighting a war. They have nothing else to do in their lives. This is the only thing that gives their lives meaning and stuff. And I feel like it's a very similar thing here. Like, there is no war other than the one that you're fighting. And like, if they didn't have this, that's why the grift works so well. And I'm really honestly concerned about what is going to happen when these people realize that they're being grifted, man. I'm really interested in what that's going to be like.
So it's going to be weird because first off, it's slowly starting to unravel, right?
Yeah.
It's slowly starting to unravel because they're going to have to do this for every game, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
going to have to keep gambling, gambling, gambling. And honestly, it's a solid gamble because a lot of games, most games don't do spectacular, right? Like most games are not going to do Baldur's Gate 3. Most games are not going to do Power World or Helldivers 2. Most games are not reaching that high ever. So it's an easy gamble, right? To say, oh, that game's going to fail. This game's going to fail because of this, right? But when they start going on to fandoms and things that people really like and really care
Yeah.
about, you know what I'm saying? Like they're just going
If
to
they
lose
try
track,
that with Mass Effect 4, bro, it's gonna be hell. It's gonna be war, bro. It's gonna be
right?
war.
We tried it with Monster Hunter, right? And people was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Don't touch my Monster Hunter, right? A good amount of people was like, hey, don't touch my Dragon Age. This shit being gay. You know what I'm saying? Like, relax.
Yeah.
It's going to start unraveling. Their talking points are going to start getting lower and lower, and they're going to get exposed like they did, last week ago as just being actually racist. Actually, and people. There are some people who are, they are anti-woke, quote unquote, but they're not necessarily bigoted. They really feel like it's messing up the
Right.
game.
Right.
But when they start seeing that all of the people, all of the content creators that are pushing this is actually bigoted, they're going to start being like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think and those content creators are gonna have to start doing more and more like aggressive things, and you're really starting to see it. And I think a lot of this is we haven't really discussed it, and maybe this will be a topic for another conversation. But like from a financial standpoint, I haven't bought a game in a very very long time. Like I have Xbox Game Pass. I have all of these streaming services where I have access to all of these games. I don't need to buy the next thing. Like in order for me to buy another game, like it has to really do something. Like the next game, like I can think of a few games off the top of my head that I buy instantly, like Mass Effect 4, instant buy, day one, pre-ordering it. Like, and yeah, it might be bad or whatever, but like I've seen some of the tweets. I just trust it. I need more Mass Effect in my life. I'm at the point where I'm playing Andromeda now. Like I need Mass Effect in my life,
So here's the thing, really quickly. You're gonna get Mass Effect, right? Well, in what 8 years? That's coming out.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
They just said they're gonna be all hands on deck for that, like starting now. So you're gonna get that in like 7, 8 years. But you trusted me with Marvel Midnight Suns.
Yeah, man.
You had a good time with that. Okay, I'm gonna need you to give me a slither of that trust again and mess with Metaphor Refantasio.
Oh yeah, I believe you. Yeah, no, I would trust Atlas. But here's the problem, man. I have not beat Persona 3, 4, or 5 yet. Like it would
A completely different universe. You ain't gotta Here's the thing. Everybody who's in TikTok and YouTube, guys, you got a Cash App, man, drop your Cash App. Help support content creators who drop the Cash App, drop the PayPal, drop the donation, whatever you got to do. All you need is a $50-$60, right? All you need is 10 people to drop $10. Okay, 10 people to drop $6. 10 people to drop $6 in your Cash App, and you can go ahead and get Metaphor Refantasio.
Is it really that good, man?
It's fucking amazing. I have said multiple times just now, I don't really care too much for, cutscenes and lore and all that fun shit. I watch every single one for this game.
Really?
It's the perfect antithesis of everything that's being talked about nowadays in video games. Like, it's crazy that they're not crying woke about this. If this game was a Ubisoft game made in America, this would be on par with Dustborn as far as how much people hate it on paper.
Really?
They have a character in there that is literally an activist. They have a status effect called anxiety, where
No way.
like it is quite literally like a lot of elements of Dust. It's about taking down unjust kings and equality. They talk blatantly. And not to spoil too much, but there is a point in the game where you cannot buy anything from a store because of the race that you are. It is literally like on some Dustborn level, obvious woke themes, etc.
But it's just a good game.
By reading about different cultures to gain literal tolerance. Literally. But it's amazing. It's really good. The writing, the dialogue is fantastic. The music obviously is Atlas, you know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
It's Persona, so you understand a little bit of the combat, but they made it a little bit better with this architect thing. Everyone, if you can, in your cash apps, guys, drop us a little something. I would love for the episode after this next one, because he's gonna take some time.
Yeah.
For us to be able to do a talk about Metaphor Fantasio, because that is quite literally political messaging in games. Like it's all in there, and it's crazy.
And have they been coming after that game like that?
0% of them have came after that game.
Why not?
In one day, it sold 1 million copies. It's Atlas, so Persona fans will not be having that. It's at a solid player count. It's critically acclaimed. It's user acclaimed. It's like their version of like Baldur's Gate. They just can't touch it, and it's made in Japan, so they got to make up excuses for it. It's crazy that they haven't touched that game. It's crazy. And you play Dustborn. I promise you will see some of that stuff and say, this is what Dustborn was trying to do.
Yeah. That's wild.
It's a good goddamn game. It's crazy.
That's wild. Crazy. Yeah, I might have to watch me some no commentary gameplay of it.
Yeah, go ahead and do that, man. I'll be honest. It's, again, there is a literal stat called tolerance. In the advertising of the game, they had one of the taglines was, and I quote, "Diversity is their strength."
No way. Why aren't they coming after this game?
This is the game for them to come for, and they won't, because it's great. It literally destroys their entire argument about everything. There's even some of the women, actually most of the women aren't sexualized either, so they can't even stay on that. Like, they don't show that much skin. They're covered, right? They don't have crazy like.
And this is from Japan?
From Japan. The women aren't sexualized. They're strong. One of the characters in the game. Now I can't. Now I'm getting.
Okay, all right. Yeah. I mean, crazy. You got me hyped, but
it's crazy. It's crazy. I literally was playing it and I'm having fun with it, but I'm also flabbergasted that they won't touch it. They are running from this game. Like they won't say anything about it. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. If the anxiety status ailment didn't break it over the top, and put that in any other game, and they'd be hot.
For sure. Yeah, they were upset about the cancel mechanic in the other one, so yeah.
Exactly. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
I have to look at it. All right.
Yeah. But I do want to say Thank you guys for stopping by. It's coming up almost 7 o'clock. We
Yeah.
got some final thoughts coming. Um, I have the 8-bit closed fist, and we got the mindful gamer. We try and talk about video games every Sunday. Just come here, chat it up. Different trending things, different things going on. Um, and today it was about political messaging in gaming. Make sure you follow us everywhere. My final thoughts on the conversation, or at least, what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, political. I think that political messaging has a place in game. I think messages have a place in game. I think that video games should be treated the same way we do it with other media. Television shows can have them, movies can have them. I don't see why. I think that specifically though. I don't think that the creative individuals behind the Veilguard would have made such a heavy-handed messaging if they weren't literally just trying to punch those wasps in the face. And that's really what it is. I feel like they were trying to just punch those people in the face, like, screw you, yeah, you're playing this game and you've been saying all of this stuff, here's a scene for you. Like, I really think that was their point. I feel like they were just throwing a middle finger to them, and at the same time affirming an experience that a lot of individuals from that community have had. I would have preferred to have had it use an in-universe like kind of word. I feel like the use of non-binary specifically erases a lot of, or just doesn't even give any homage to the fact that there are other cultures that have had language for this for some time, and to erase them like that, I feel like that's problematic. And there's definitely a larger conversation to be had about why we use this one English word. Like, I would love to discuss that. But overall, I think it does have a place in gaming, and I think it's going to get better as we continue to make more games and continue to hopefully start talking about other experiences. I want to be preached to about what it's like to be black. I want to be preached to about what it's like to be a woman in society. I want to be preached to about what it's like to have disabilities. I want us to make sure that we're including everybody in the conversation. And that's how I feel about it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it evolves.
Yeah, yeah. I part of me feels like there's a situation where everyone can run from it after hearing all of everyone yelling on the internet about it. Part of me also feels like it's not going away, because different people make video games now. They're in the boardrooms, they're in the writing room, so it's inevitable now. They just have to make sure that they do it well, and I'm all for it. Give me all the writing, all the everything, all the political messaging. Just make sure that your game is fun. That's my thing. Make sure the game is fun. I'm used to cringe writing in video games. I've been playing them for a very long time. Make sure the game is fun. Do your political messaging. Do what you gotta do. I'm not tripping. But I do want everyone to follow us. That's the show.
Yeah, it was a good show.
So that's this discussion. It was fun. It was fun. But I'm gonna catch y'all. It's been real.
Do we get an outro timer? Is there an outro video?
Yeah, we don't have an outro video.
Okay, we should get one.
Oh, that's good. Y'all make sure y'all catch it. It's been real.